What you see right here is Jonathan Marchessault about to ice the game for the Predators. 25 seconds left, empty net for Montreal, and seemingly no hope for the Habs. Except, luckily enough for them, they have plot armor. Hutson blocks the shot, fires it up to Caufield, who fires it short side to tie the game with less than 20 seconds to go in Montreal. Then, with time winding down in overtime, you can't make this up, Suzuki finds Caufield, who puts it home with 2 seconds left to win the game. And this is something we've seen a lot in the past because since the Four Nations break, the Habs have been one of the hottest teams in the entire league. As of October 24th, since the Four Nations break, the Habs are 5th in the league in terms of points percentage with a record of 21-8-6 for 48 points in 34 games, sitting just behind Toronto, Colorado, St. Louis, and Vegas. And now just 9 games into the season, they're tied for 2nd in the league in points with a 6-3 record, and the vibes in Montreal could not be any better. This year was supposed to be another scrappy wildcard year, 90 points, maybe fighting for a spot, but instead, it feels like Montreal's in control of their own destiny. Last season is when things really began to shift. Lane Hutson arrived and immediately looked like he'd been playing in the NHL his whole life, walking the blue line, threading passes through traffic, and giving Montreal a level of creativity on the back end they hadn't seen since PK. Jacob Dobson made his debut and quietly stabilized the crease, calm, composed, and stealing games down the stretch. Then came the arrival of Ivan Demidov, the kid with unreal hands and a highlight reel that made Bell Center sound like a playoff crowd during the last few regular season games. And all that happened while the top line of Suzuki, Caufield, and Slafkovsky turned into one of the league's most electric trios. What used to be just flashes of potential became nightly production. Suzuki evolved into a complete two-way captain, Caufield rediscovered his scoring touch, and Slafkovsky put it all together with his size, confidence, and poise. And they've only gotten better this year. Suzuki has been leading as example as a calm, smart playmaker who always seems to make the right decision with the puck. Through 9 games, he's already picked up 11 assists, putting him among the top setup guys in the entire league. And among players who've played over 75 minutes so far this year, Suzuki ranks 8th in assists per 60 minutes at 3.6, making him one of the most efficient playmakers in hockey right now. And since the Four Nations break, he's actually right behind David Pastrnak for the league lead in points, which tells you just how consistent he's been over the past few months. And he's not flashy about it, he just reads the ice better than most players. He slows the game down and delivers perfect passes that create scoring chances out of nothing. Every offensive shift pretty much runs through him, and most of those passes end up on the stick of Caufield. Caufield looks completely back to form as a pure goal scorer, and his chemistry with Suzuki has never looked better. Through 9 games, he's already scored 7 goals, which is tied for the league lead, including 2 overtime winners, continuing to show how clutch he can be when the game's on the line. He really broke out last season when he scored 37 goals, proving he's more than just a streaky scorer, he's a consistent offensive threat every single night. And so far, it looks like he's picking up right where he left off. Right now, he's shooting at about 27%, which probably isn't sustainable for the entire season. He's typically been around a 12 to 16% throughout his career, but it shows just how dialed in he is to start the season. With Suzuki setting him up, Caufield looks poised to put together another big scoring season, maybe even bigger than the last one. Slafkovsky is in his 3rd season right now, and this is the season where everyone's starting to expect him to take that next step. He's had a bit of a slow start this season, but the flashes are still there. The strength on the puck, the confidence to make plays, and the chemistry with Suzuki and Caufield continuing to grow every game. He's coming off a career season last year with 51 points, which was a big breakout for him after the ups and the downs of his rookie season. Now, it's about building on that, finding consistency and turning those flashes into full stretches of dominant play. But even when the points aren't really coming, you can still see how much more comfortable he looks. He's stronger along the boards, he's more patient with the puck, and he's more confident driving plays himself instead of just supporting the line. What's really stood out about this line is how much cleaner they've been defensively. Last year, they were already one of the better offensive trios in the league, but this season, they've tightened up things on their own end. This right here is a graph showing the 18 forward lines this season who have played 60+ minutes together. On the x-axis, it shows their expected goals percentage, which basically measures how much of the overall scoring chance quality belongs to them when they're on the ice. So a line sitting around 50% is breaking even, and they're generating and allowing the same amount of quality chances. Anything above 50% means they're controlling the play a little bit more and creating more dangerous chances than they give up. A line around 65%, for example, is dominating possession and outchancing opponents by a wide margin. On the y-axis is the expected goals against per 60 minutes, which tracks how many quality chances a line gives up defensively over a full game's worth of ice time. So ideally, you want a line that's very far to the right and very high on the chart. I have the lower goals against number higher on the graph just for a better visual experience. Interestingly enough, the worst line to create offense and keep pucks out is Crosby, Rust, and Raquel, which is the line right here. Then the Pens actually have two more pretty bad lines of Dewar, Lizotte, and Achari, and then Brazeau, Malkin, and Mantha. Moving up, you can see a Habs line of Newhook, Kapanen, and Demidov, which actually isn't that great. Then moving on up, you have a large clump of lines right here around the 50% to 55% mark, meaning that these lines are pretty much mid when it comes to creating offense. Then you really get into the upper echelon of lines, those who dominate possession and rarely let up chances. The best offensive line is actually Anaheim's line of Gauthier, McTavish, and Seneca, which is incredibly impressive considering they have an average age of just 21 years old. The best defensive line is right here, and that's the line of Schmaltz, Hayton, and Keller for Utah. But right here, that's Slaf, Suzuki, and Caufield, having a mix of great offense and amazing defense. And this is actually a huge change from last year, where their expected goals percentage was 48% and their goals against per 60 was 3.2. So both those numbers took a complete 180, and I'm sure that means they've gotten better, but they can also be attributed to a certain change they made over the offseason. The trade that brought Noah Dobson to Montreal marked a clear turning point for the organization, a move that signaled they were done rebuilding and ready to compete. At 25 years old, Dobson joined Montreal as a right-shot defenseman entering his prime, the kind of player who can lead a top pairing and drive the team's shift towards a quicker, more modern brand of hockey. Through the first 9 games of the season, Dobson has already made a noticeable impact in Montreal. He's been trusted with major responsibility right away, averaging 22 minutes a night, second to only the veteran Mike Matheson. Dobson's arrival has given the Canadiens exactly what they've been missing, a steady, two-way right-shot defenseman who can handle heavy minutes in every situation. And because of that, Montreal's defense has gone from a question mark to one of the team's biggest strengths, and Dobson is a major reason why. While Noah Dobson continues to play his steady two-way game, Lane Hutson has picked up right where he left off last year. He's been one of Montreal's most dynamic players, constantly driving offense from the back end. Every game, he seems more comfortable holding onto the puck and setting the tone for how the Canadiens move up the ice. Through 9 games, he's already at 7 assists and averaging over 22 minutes a night. Hutson looks more confident, more composed, and more in control, showing that last year's breakout season was not just some fluke. And while Hudson's growth on the blue line has been very impressive, it's been just as exciting to watch what's happening up front with Ivan Demidov. The rookie has wasted no time making his presence felt, showing off the skill and confidence that made him such a highly anticipated prospect. Through 9 games, the rookie has 1 goal and 5 assists. And the overtime setup he had to Matheson is exactly why the Habs drafted him.
Hesitates, Matheson scores! Demidov with the setup, Matheson wins it, and Montreal keeps it.
Demidov's play has also elevated the play of his line mates, with Alex Newhook sitting at 7 points and Kapanen putting up 4 goals and 2 assists in that same span. He's quickly becoming a huge reason on why Montreal is so successful early on. The Habs do still have one question though that's left unanswered, and that's who they're going to rely on in net. For the past few seasons, it's been Montembeault, who's been pretty steady, not spectacular, but pretty dependable enough to give the team a chance to win. But with Jacob Dobeš now in the picture, that job might not be as secure as it once was. Dobeš debuted last year and immediately showed flashes of something special. Through his first few starts this season, he's 4-0-0, currently leads the league in both save percentage and goals against average, and he looks like he's going to be the new go-to guy. And if the Canadiens can figure out their goaltending, there's really nothing left to complete for this rebuild. Even with injuries piling up, the Canadiens haven't lost their rhythm. Patrick Laine is day-to-day, Kirby Dach has already missed some time, and Caden Gooley is expected to be out for a few weeks. But somehow, this team really hasn't skipped a beat. The Montreal Canadiens are playing their best hockey they've played in years. They're fast, confident, and clearly having fun every single night. From the young core stepping up to Marty St. setting the tone behind the bench, everything is moving in the right direction. It looks like a group that's learning how to win together and enjoying the process. If vibes could win you the Stanley Cup, the Canadiens might have already had one.